Ancient Greece stands as one of history's most fascinating civilizations, a cornerstone of Western culture that continues to influence our world today. From the rocky peaks of the Peloponnese to the fertile plains of Attica, this land gave birth to ideas and innovations that would shape human society for millennia to come. Today we'll explore the remarkable story of two city-states that defined this extraordinary civilization, Athens and Sparta. Let's begin with Athens, the crown jewel of ancient Greek democracy. Around 800 BCE, Athens emerged from its humble beginnings as a small settlement on the Acropolis hill. The city gradually evolved from a monarchy into an oligarchy, but it was the reforms of Solon in 594 BC that laid the groundwork for something unprecedented: democracy. Solon's reforms abolished debt slavery and gave citizens a voice in government, though limited by social class. The real democratic revolution came with Cleisthenes in 508 BCE. He introduced a system where all free male citizens could participate in the assembly, vote on laws, and hold public office. This radical concept of democratia, ruled by the demos or people, was revolutionary for its time. The Athenian assembly would meet on the Pnyx Hill, where up to 6,000 citizens would gather to debate and vote on everything from war to public works. But Athens wasn't just about politics. The city became the intellectual and cultural center of the Greek world. During its golden age in the 5th century BCE, under the leadership of Pericles, Athens experienced an unprecedented flowering of art, literature, and philosophy. The Parthenon, that magnificent temple to Athena that still crowns the Acropolis today, was built during this period. The city attracted brilliant minds like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, whose philosophical ideas continue to influence modern thought. Meanwhile, about 150 miles to the southwest, a very different society was taking shape. Sparta developed into something unique, a military state focused entirely on martial excellence. From birth, Spartan life was governed by strict discipline. Male children were taken from their families at age 7 to begin the agoge, a rigorous training system that would turn them into warriors. They learned to endure pain, hunger, and harsh conditions without complaint. Spartan society was equally unique. Unlike other Greek cities, Sparta had two kings who shared power with a council of elders. The Spartans developed a social system where citizens, known as Spartiates, were supported by a large population of helots, state-owned serfs, who worked the land. This allowed Spartan citizens to focus entirely on military training and civic duties. The differences between Athens and Sparta couldn't have been more stark. While Athens celebrated art, philosophy, and commerce, Sparta prided itself on simplicity, discipline, and military prowess. Athenians lived in relative luxury, discussing ideas in the agora, while Spartans ate simple black broth in communal messes and scorned material wealth. Even their approaches to education differed dramatically. Athens educated its youth in rhetoric, mathematics, and the arts, while Sparta focused almost exclusively on physical and military training. These contrasting approaches would eventually lead to conflict. The Peloponnesian War, lasting from 431 to 404 BCE, was the culmination of growing tensions between these powerful city-states. Athens, with its powerful navy and extensive alliance system known as the Delian League, faced off against Sparta and its Peloponnesian League. The war was devastating for all of Greece, particularly Athens, which suffered a terrible plague and eventually surrendered to Sparta after its fleet was destroyed at Agospotami. But the victory would prove hollow. The war weakened both cities, and neither would fully recover their former glory. This weakness would eventually contribute to their subjugation by Macedon under Philip II and his son Alexander the Great in the 4th century BCE. Yet even in decline, these cities' influence on history was assured. The legacy of Athens and Sparta extends far beyond their time. Athens gave us the concepts of democracy, citizenship, and civic participation. Its philosophical traditions, from Socratic questioning to Aristotelian logic, became foundational to Western thought. Its architectural achievements, like the Parthenon, continue to inspire architects and artists. Even its theatrical traditions, with tragedies and comedies performed in vast amphitheaters, influence modern entertainment. Sparta's influence, while different, is equally significant. Its emphasis on discipline, duty, and sacrifice has inspired military organizations throughout history. The Spartan concept of citizenship, that with privileges come responsibilities, remains relevant today. Even their famous laconic wit, giving us the word laconic, demonstrates how their cultural influence extends into our language. The story of these city-states teaches us valuable lessons about different forms of government and society. Athens shows us the power of democracy and free thought, but also its potential instabilities. Sparta demonstrates the strength of discipline and unity, but also the costs of sacrificing individual freedom for collective security. As we look at our modern world, we can see echoes of both Athens and Sparta. Our democratic institutions, our philosophy, our art, and our architecture all bear the fingerprints of ancient Greece. When we debate the balance between individual rights and collective security, we're engaging with questions that would have been familiar to both Athenians and Spartans. The rivalry between Athens and Sparta reminds us that different societies can take radically different paths to greatness. Their eventual decline shows us that even the mightiest civilizations are vulnerable when they fail to adapt or become too rigid in their ways. Yet their enduring influence proves that true greatness isn't measured just in military sprees or political power, but in the ideas and values that survive long after the cities themselves have fallen. Today, as we face our own challenges of governance, security, and social organization, the lessons of Athens and Sparta remain remarkably relevant. Their story reminds us that civilization is a delicate balance between competing values, and that the choices we make as societies have consequences that can echo through millennia.